Yo, I'm Lucy Bedroque, and I'm here with Hyperpop Daily.
You released your second album, Unmusic, in May of this year. What drew you to that name?
So the idea for this mixtape was that I wanted to create something that was pretty much not so much of like a passion project, more so like a fun thing to make, as opposed to my last two passion projects. I'd say I consider like Sisterhood or the Vanilla EP as like ambitious projects. This was more of like a kind of fun project, and I think that probably would have created backlash. And it's a bit different, but it was kind of just fun to make. So I was like, it's cool.
You have a song called 2010 Justin Bieber. What are your top three Justin Bieber eras?
Okay, my favorite honestly is not 2010. I'd say my favorite is actually 2014 Justin Bieber, and then 2010, and then I'd probably say maybe right now. I can't lie, it's kind of hard.
So you've gone from Lost Rushi to Lucy Bedroque. So how do you see those identities in your musical universe?
I'd say Lost Rushi was more of like a something I came up with when I was 14, and I can't really see it beyond what it was when I was like a teenager. And I think Lucy Bedroque is more of it's more substantive, and it means something, I'd say, now to me. And it's I feel like it's something I can actually cling to um for as long as I possibly can.
People often connect your sound to digicore and maplecore, but your latest work has Pitchfork journalists calling it Rage 2.0. Do you feel like those labels limit your vision, or do you think it helps people find a door into it?
I think it depends on how maybe it's like up for interpretation. I don't really label my music or anything, and I'm not too. I used to dislike the digicore label and anything or the sizzlecore, maplecore, all of that. But I think now I'd say the closest thing I can say my music is alternative, and although I make rap and I make like hip hop and whatnot, I'd say even then, those labels. At the end of the day, I know what I make, and I'm happy with what I make. So I think it's fun.
You came up in the SoundCloud digicore scene, which thrives on collabs. Do you think internet-born communities are usually more supportive, or do you think they're more competitive?
It's a good mix of both. But I think in recent times, I think it's been a little bit more competitive, on the competitive side than actually supportive side.
Online, I feel like your fans treat your songs like artifacts that they're dissecting. Does that level of attention usually fuel you, or does it add more pressure?
Mix of both, I'd say, because I think even right now it's a little bit surreal to me, but I think it makes me at the end of the day, it's still like everything I do just makes me want to push my boundaries even more, more and more, and I would say like there is some kind of pressure here and there, but I don't think it's enough to make me uh like lose my fucking mind or some shit, you know? Yeah.
What's one fashion item that feels essential to you?
Gunda necklace.
How do you feel about the trend of listeners gatekeeping their favorite artists?
That shit is ass. I don't like people who gatekeep certain stuff. Um, Being someone that used to gatekeep certain uh music artists that I would find on like Spotify, and Spotify algorithm is really it's actually really good, and there's a lot of artists that I listen to that are like under 20,000 monthly listeners, but I do think that I guess growing up now, music is music, and I think sharing that with other people is is what brings people together, and I think that's like the most important thing.
If you had to pick a favorite song that you've made and a favorite song that you've produced, what songs would they be?
My favorite song that I've made is probably How to Pretend. My favorite song to produce is honestly one of the songs off of on music. I'd say probably G6. But there's some. I'm working on a new album right now, and everything that I'm working on is probably my favorite. So, that's good. Yes.
How would you describe your sound to someone that's never heard it before?
Too much, I'd say.
What advice would you give other artists trying to come up in the scene right now?
Thing is, you don't have to try to if you're trying to be on everyone's top 5 or whatever it is. I feel like you don't necessarily have to try to do it. You kind of just do it, and you if you're passionate about it and if you love what you do, I feel like that's the most. I know it's a very like cliche thing to say, but that's how it worked for me, and I enjoyed almost every bit of making music, and I did it by just being myself, and I wasn't trying to, I don't know, LARP as anybody else or do anything that wasn't me. So I think being myself, although it was difficult, I'd say it's probably like the best thing I probably done. I'd say.
On Unmusic, you have a song made in Italy. Was that actually made in Italy? Like, where did you primarily make Unmusic?
Not made in Italy. It was actually some of it was actually made in. So my I've made this album in or mixtape in my first year of uni, and some of it was recorded either in my room or my school had this little studio, and I would go there sometimes. So it was not made in Italy.
Okay, we're starting from the beginning. Where are you from, and how has your background shaped the music that you're making today?
So I was born pretty much in the Bronx, and I'd say living there for like the first 9 years of my life has definitely influenced the way I listen to music. I took influences from my parents, specifically my mom and my godfather. A lot of people in my family. Music was heavy. Um, I moved to LA when I was, like I said, when I was 9, and I'd say that didn't have much of an influence because I'd say LA doesn't have much diversity. But growing up as a teenager in LA has definitely allowed me to find my tastes in music and whatnot. So I think moving around has definitely influenced that.
Your sound really has this futuristic edge that leans heavily into like the hyperpop and sizzlecore subgenres. How would you describe the inspirations behind your sound? And do you see yourself as part of that wave or like you're carving out your own lane?
Probably a mix of both. I take inspirations from people within the scene. Um, Mostly though, I'd say as of right now, my biggest inspirations are and have been. My number one is Yasutaka Nakata is like this Japanese producer. He works notable works are like Capsule, Cult of Monica, and obviously Perfume. And as of right now, I'd say like my other big inspos are Sweet Trip, Slow Dive, and Crystal Castles. I say, and um, I think I kind of take from like there's also like a lot of things I take from as well, but I think those have definitely influenced the way I like even e- the way music even registers in my in my brain. So um, that's probably been like the most inspirational thing to me right now.
So you've been working pretty closely with fellow underground artist Pretty Fun, not only just linking up musically, but also opening for a show in LA. How did that collaboration come about, and what's your relationship like outside of the studio and the stage?
I met Mikey through mutual friends back in 2020, I think about 2023 or 2024. Um, and we made our first song together. It was me, Ego Break, and Pretty Fun. And we had that when we had made that, I think that's when I kind of discovered like, wait, hold on. I think I actually like. I think me and this dude have like good chemistry in music, and I guess the more we made songs together, I think that started to show, and I think other people started to think the same as well. And I think even right now there are people like anticipating like a project and whatnot. So um, it's fun work, very fun work.
When you and Pretty are working together, what is the creative process usually like? Is it more spontaneous or is it more carefully structured?
Spontaneous as fuck. It's very like a lot of things. A lot of things honestly that I think maybe a lot of artists do. I may be wrong. I think it's different for everyone, but especially me, I'm not. I guess when I'm more project based, I'm a little bit more oriented. But when it comes to collaborating with other artists, I'm definitely more spontaneous, and I think a lot of other artists are too. Specifically, Pretty Fun, which obviously there's no negative connotation in that. I think there's, I think honestly there's more positive in being spontaneous. It makes the process a lot more fun, in my opinion. I think having everything structured can be a little bit stressful, and yeah.
Anime characters definitely have a strong presence in your cover art. What draws you to that aesthetic, and how do you feel like it connects to your music?
I grew up on anime, and I I especially picked it back up when I was during quarantine. I was like 14, so I had way too much time on my hands, and I was heavily influenced by like a lot of the things I watched. I'd say my favorite anime for a long time has been GTO, and I'd say there's definitely a lot of others, but I just can't think right now. But incorporating the thing with me, I like incorporate imagery into music, and I think that helps a lot. And I think sound and imagery kind of go hand in hand, and I think it helps me like a lot. It's like super significant to me.
On that same note, what are some of your all time favorite anime series or films that inspire you personally or artistically?
A lot of Studio Ghibli movies. I fuck with heavy. GTO, like I mentioned before. Code Geass. Steins Gate. Just a lot of, just I'd say like those three are kind of like my top, definitely like top five. I'd say.
Anthony Fantano reacted to your music on stream, which is typically a huge moment for any rising artist. What was that experience like for you? And like, did it impact how you see your own work?
It's kind of crazy. Cause I mean, I feel like a lot of people have like known. Obviously, Fantano's infamous for reacting to all kinds of music and giving controversial opinions that people either love or hate. But having it happen to me is kind of like surreal, and it's almost like, damn, wow. It's kind of hard to put into words, but I think overall, whether he likes it or not, I think it's pretty fucking cool, to be honest.
You referenced the bond of sisterhood a bit in your music. What is the meaning of that to you?
I don't do this much anymore, but when it did matter to me a lot, at least sisterhood was kind of like a metaphor for different aspects of myself that kind of it's like almost like a composite of me, and it's three is like probably like my favorite, one of my favorite numbers. So I think that's kind of that's kind of what that was. I'd say.
Italy is brought up quite a few times in your online presence. Do you draw inspiration from other cultures? And like, what cultures and how and why?
Heavy, heavy on that. I've never been to Italy, but I really do want to go. Um, in terms of other cultures, say Japanese culture is definitely that's kind of an obvious one. Chinese as well, but because my mom she'd grown up in China for about 9 years, so that had like a heavy influence on me as a whole. Obviously, so let's say I'm from Nigeria and from Zambia as well. So those cultures is mostly Zambian has influenced me. Jamaican, any like Caribbean. Um, that's kind of like I'd say the surface of that. Yeah,
Why would you say your music style seems to change so much?
I'm very indecisive. I'm like an indecisive person when it comes to things that I'm very passionate about. I feel like that's gonna continue to happen, and I feel like it's always gonna bring some kind of talk amongst people. People are gonna hate it. People are gonna love it. But with me, um, I think I know what I want, and what I want isn't always what other people want. But at the end of the day, I create it, and I'm very passionate about what I make. And
All right, as we're closing out, is there any final message that you want to leave for your fans right now? Like anything coming up?
new album. um working very, very diligently on this project. This is probably gonna be like my most important project to me yet. Um, I what I want to do with this project is probably sounds pretty fucking crazy, and I'm sure a lot of people probably want this as well, or a lot of artists want this as well. But kind of want this project to kind of change everything, so to say. So yeah.